Welcome to Galactic Nova Stories, where cosmic emotions come to life. Your journey begins now. Captain Marcus Kane pressed himself against the cold metal wall, listening to the rhythmic hum of alien machinery echoing through the corridors of the research station. 3 weeks of tracking distress signals had led him here, to this forgotten outpost in the Kepler sector, where his worst fears were being confirmed. Humans were being held captive, experimented upon by creatures whose motives remained shrouded in mystery. The facility sprawled before him like a mechanical spider, its corridors branching in directions that defied human architectural logic. Through his reconnaissance drone, Marcus had counted at least 40 human subjects in various states of containment. Some appeared to be in suspended animation, others were connected to strange biological apparatus that pulsed with an otherworldly light. As he moved deeper into the station, Marcus's enhanced tactical suit registered elevated electromagnetic readings. The air itself seemed to vibrate with an energy he couldn't identify. His hand tightened around his plasma rifle, though he knew stealth would serve him better than firepower in this labyrinth. A soft sound made him freeze. Footsteps, but not human ones. The gait was different, lighter, with an odd rhythm that suggested a different skeletal structure. Marcus crouched behind a support beam, watching as a figure approached. The being was humanoid but taller, more graceful, with elongated limbs and skin that seemed to shimmer with an internal luminescence. What struck him most were the creature's eyes. Large, intelligent, and filled with what he could only describe as profound sadness. The alien wore a form-fitting suit that appeared to be both clothing and technology, with bioluminescent patterns dancing across its surface. Marcus raised his weapon, but something in the creature's demeanor gave him pause. It wasn't moving like a guard or researcher. Instead, it seemed to be moving furtively, glancing over its shoulder as if it too was trying to avoid detection. The alien noticed him in the same moment he made his decision. Instead of calling out an alarm, it raised its hands in what Marcus recognized as a universal gesture of surrender. When it spoke, its voice was melodious, though the words were spoken in accented but clear standard Galactic. "Please, human, I mean no harm. I am Lyra of the Valdari. I've been waiting for someone like you to arrive." Marcus kept his weapon, trained on her, though something in her tone made him hesitate. "Waiting for me? Why?" Lyra stepped closer, her movements fluid and non-threatening. "Because I know why your people are here, why they're being subjected to these experiments. And because I believe you and I may be the key to stopping something far worse than you can imagine. Every great bond starts with a single moment of courage. Galactic Nova Stories is just beginning, and your support matters. If you love emotional sci-fi tales, forbidden connections, and stories that stay with you, hit subscribe. It's free, and it helps us bring more stories from the stars to you." "The other Valdari researchers," Lyra continued, "they see your species as nothing more than biological specimens. They believe human genetic material can be harvested and manipulated to save our dying race. But they're wrong about the methods, and they're wrong about what makes humanity special." Marcus lowered his weapon slightly. "What do you know about what makes us special?" Lyra's large eyes seemed to glow brighter. "Your species doesn't just adapt to survive, Captain Kane. You transform challenges into strengths. You don't just endure hardship, you use it to become stronger. That's why the experiments are failing. You can't extract the essence of humanity through force or manipulation. It must be given freely." "How do you know my name?" Marcus demanded. "The same way I know you've lost 17 crew members in the past year fighting the hegemony forces. The same way I know you've been tracking our research stations for months. We Valdari are telepathic, Captain. But unlike my colleagues, I don't use my abilities to invade minds without permission." Marcus studied her carefully. Everything about this situation defied his training, yet his instincts told him she was telling the truth. "What do you want from me?" Lyra moved closer still, close enough that he could see the intricate patterns in her skin, like living tattoos that pulsed with her heartbeat. "I want to show you something that could change the fate of both our species. But first, we must free your people. Together." She gestured toward a hidden panel in the wall that Marcus hadn't noticed. I've been sabotaging the experiments from within for months, trying to minimize the damage to your people. But I can't evacuate them alone. Your technology and mine combined could save them all. Marcus made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. He extended his hand to Vera. "Show me." When their hands touched, he felt a strange warmth, as if energy was flowing between them. Vera's eyes widened in surprise, and for a moment Marcus thought he could sense her emotions, her hope, her desperate need to protect not just the human captives, but her own people as well. "Your touch," she whispered. "It's different from what the others described. You're not just physically resilient. You're emotionally and spiritually strong in ways that can't be measured or replicated." Marcus realized that this moment, this choice to trust an alien who should have been his enemy, was exactly the kind of leap of faith that had always defined humanity's greatest achievements. As Vera led Marcus through hidden passages within the research station, she began to explain the desperate situation that had driven her people to such extreme measures. The corridors they traveled were clearly designed for maintenance access, narrow and uncomfortable for both human and Valdari physiology. "My people have ruled this sector of the galaxy for over 10,000 years, Vera said, her voice carrying the weight of ancient history. "We achieved technological advancement beyond what your species has yet imagined. We mastered space travel, conquered disease, extended our lifespans to nearly a millennium. But in doing so, we lost something essential." Marcus followed closely, his tactical scanner mapping their route. "What did you lose?" "Our ability to adapt, to evolve, to truly connect with one another." Vera paused at an intersection, checking for guards before continuing. "We became so focused on perfection that we bred out variation, spontaneity, and passion. Our birth rates plummeted. Our genetic diversity has become so narrow that each generation is weaker than the last." They emerged into an observation deck overlooking the main laboratory. Below them, Marcus could see dozens of human captives in various stages of experimentation. Some were unconscious in biopods, others were awake and connected to machines that seemed to be analyzing their neural patterns. The Valdari High Council identified humans as a potential solution approximately 50 years ago, Vera continued. "Your species possesses something we've lost, something we called the adaptability factor. It's not just physical resilience, though, that's remarkable enough. It's your ability to maintain genetic diversity, to form emotional bonds that transcend logic, to find hope in impossible situations." Marcus clenched his fists as he watched the experiments below. "So you decided to harvest us like lab rats?" "Not I," Vera said firmly. "I was part of the research team that first proposed studying human genetics, but I advocated for peaceful contact, for trade and cooperation. The Council overruled me. They believed that humans were too primitive, too violent to be trusted with knowledge of our existence." "They weren't wrong about the violent part," Marcus muttered. Vera turned to face him, her luminescent skin patterns shifting to deeper blues and purples. "That's where they were most wrong. Human violence isn't random or cruel, it's protective. You fight for each other, for principles, for the future. Valdari fight for territory, for resources, for control. There's a fundamental difference." As they watched, one of the human subjects, a woman Marcus recognized as Lieutenant Sarah Chen from the Colony Defense Forces, began to struggle against her restraints. The monitoring equipment around her pod went haywire, readings spiking into dangerous levels. "She's rejecting the neural interface," Vera explained. "It happens with most humans. The technology tries to access human consciousness the same way it accesses Valdari minds, but human thoughts are too chaotic, too emotionally complex. The interface causes feedback loops." Marcus could see the woman's distress, and his protective instincts flared. "We need to get her out of there." "Wait," Vera placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Let me show you something first. Something that made me realize the Council's approach was not just morally wrong, but scientifically flawed." She activated a holographic display showing brain scan comparisons. One set of patterns was orderly, predictable, flowing in neat pathways. The other was wild, chaotic, with unexpected connections firing across seemingly random neural networks. "Valdari neural patterns," she pointed to the first set, "and human patterns. For months, my colleagues tried to impose Valdari order on human brains. They believed chaos was a flaw to be corrected, but I realized something they didn't. The holographic display shifted, showing the same brain patterns under different conditions. When humans are under stress, when they're protecting something they love, when they're faced with impossible odds, their neural patterns don't break down. They become more complex, more creative, more powerful. Marcus studied the data, beginning to understand. You think our chaos is a feature, not a bug? Exactly. Vera's eyes brightened. Valdari minds are like perfectly tuned instruments, beautiful but limited to their designed range. Human minds are like symphonies that can play any song, even ones that haven't been written yet. The alarm suddenly blared through the station. Red lights bathed the laboratory as security forces began mobilizing. Marcus realized their presence had been detected. Now we save your people, Vera said, pulling out a device that looked like crystalline technology merged with organic components. But Captain, I need you to understand something. Saving them is just the beginning. The real threat isn't this research station, or even the experiments. The real threat is what's coming. What do you mean? Vera's expression grew grave. There are forces in this galaxy that make the Valdari look peaceful, species that don't just want to study or exploit humanity, but to eliminate what they see as a dangerous anomaly. Your adaptability, your refusal to be conquered or controlled, it terrifies them. As security forces surrounded the observation deck, Marcus made another crucial decision. Then, we'd better make sure they have good reason to be terrified. He raised his plasma rifle, but Vera caught his arm. Not with violence, Captain, with something stronger. The escape from the research station proved to be a revelation for both Marcus and Vera. As Valdari security forces closed in around them, their distinct approaches to problem-solving created an unexpectedly effective combination. While Marcus relied on tactical training and improvised solutions, Vera demonstrated abilities that defied human understanding of physics and biology. "Stay close," Vera whispered, as they navigated through maintenance shafts toward the detention levels. Her skin patterns had shifted to deep greens and blues, and Marcus noticed the air around her seemed to shimmer. "I'm extending a psychic dampening field. It should hide us from their mental sweeps." Marcus had heard theories about alien telepathic abilities, but witnessing it firsthand was unnerving. "How far does that field extend?" "About 3 meters. But it requires significant concentration." As if to emphasize her point, a bead of luminescent sweat appeared on her forehead. "The more minds I hide, the more energy it consumes." They reached a junction where the shaft split into multiple directions. Marcus consulted his scanner while Vera closed her eyes, her head tilted in concentration. 4 guards approaching from the east corridor, Marcus reported. 6 humans in the detention center below us, Vera added. "I can sense their confusion, their fear, but also their determination. Your people don't give up easily." Marcus couldn't help but smile. "That's the first thing you got right about us?" As they descended toward the detention level, Vera suddenly stopped. Her skin patterns had shifted to a rapid pulsing gold, and her eyes were wide with alarm. "What is it?" Marcus asked. "I'm sensing something from the humans below." One of them, a male with unusual neural patterns. "He's not just resisting the experiments, he's somehow reversing them. The Valdari technology is adapting to him instead of the other way around." Marcus's tactical scanner began picking up energy readings unlike anything in his database. "The readings down there are off the charts. What kind of experiments were they running?" "Genetic compatibility studies," Vera admitted, her voice heavy with guilt. "The Council believed that human adaptability could be transferred through biological fusion. They were attempting to create human Valdari hybrids. The implications hit Marcus like a physical blow." "You were trying to interbreed with us?" "Not me," Vera said quickly. "But yes, the research included reproductive compatibility experiments. The theory was that hybrid offspring would possess both human adaptability and Valdari longevity and mental abilities." They reached the detention center to find chaos erupting. The human captives had somehow disabled their restraints and were fighting back using Valdari equipment they had no training to operate. Yet somehow, impossibly, The technology was responding to their commands. Lieutenant Chen stood in the center of the melee, her hands somehow interfaced with a Valdari control console, data streams flowing around her like living light. Her eyes had taken on a faint luminescence, and when she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that resonated strangely in the air. "Captain Kane," she called out without turning around. "About time you showed up. I was starting to think we'd have to rescue ourselves." Marcus stared in shock. "Chen, how are you doing that?" "Honestly, sir, I have no idea. About an hour ago, something changed. It's like I can hear the machines thinking, and they're not as smart as they look." Vera moved closer, studying Chen with fascination. "This is unprecedented. The genetic modifications appear to have activated dormant human potential rather than suppressing it." One of the other rescued humans, a young engineer named Tom Blake, approached them. His transformation was even more dramatic. His hair had taken on a silvery sheen, and his skin showed faint patterns reminiscent of Valdari markings. "Captain," Blake said, his voice carrying new depth and resonance, "we need to talk. The experiments didn't just change us physically. We're seeing things, understanding things we shouldn't be able to. And there's something coming, something big and hostile that makes these Valdari look like friendly neighbors." Marcus looked between his transformed crew members and Vera, trying to process the rapid changes. "What exactly did they do to you?" "They tried to rewrite our genetic code," Chen explained, still somehow multitasking as she operated the alien console. "But instead of making us more like them, it seems to have unlocked something that was already there. Something human." Vera's skin patterns had shifted to rapid, excited pulses of silver and gold. "I need to run scans on them immediately. If what I'm suspecting is true, then everything we thought we knew about human potential has been grossly underestimated." An explosion echoed through the facility and the lights flickered. Marcus realized their escape window was closing rapidly. Explanations later, he decided. Right now, we need to get everyone off this station. "That's already taken care of," Blake said with a mysterious smile. "Chen's been reprogramming their shuttle bay. We've got 3 Valdari ships fueled and ready, and their navigation systems are unlocked." "How could you possibly know how to operate their technology?" Vera asked, clearly amazed. Chen finally turned from the console, her luminescent eyes meeting. "Vera's? Because apparently when you try to force human nature to change, it doesn't break. It becomes something stronger, something that can understand any system, operate any technology, adapt to any challenge." Marcus felt a mix of pride and concern as he looked at his transformed crew. "Are you still human?" "More human than ever," Blake replied. "Just with better tools to be human with." As they made their way toward the shuttle bay, Vera stayed close to Marcus. "Captain, I need to tell you something else. The reason I was really on this station, the reason I was captured along with these others." "What do you mean?" Her skin patterns shifted to deep blues and purples. Colors he was learning indicated emotional distress. "I volunteered for the compatibility experiments myself. I believed that understanding the connection between our species was the key to saving both of them. And after seeing what's happened here, after meeting you and your people, I believe it more than ever." Marcus stopped walking. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that maybe the solution isn't about changing humans or changing Valdari. Maybe it's about choosing to become something new together." The hijacked Valdari shuttle emerged from hyperspace near the human colony of New Haven, only to find it under siege. 3 massive alien vessels, each the size of a small moon, had surrounded the agricultural world. Their black hulls seemed to absorb light itself, and energy weapons lanced down at the planet's surface like deadly rain. "Captain," Chen called from the pilot's seat, her enhanced abilities allowing her to interface directly with the shuttle's navigation systems, "I'm reading massive biosignatures from those ships. Whatever's attacking the colony, they're not Valdari." Marcus studied the tactical display, his mind calculating odds and strategies. The attacking vessels showed no design patterns he recognized, and their technology readings were completely alien. "Vera, have you seen anything like this before?" Vera's skin had gone pale silver, patterns of deep red pulsing across her features in what Marcus had learned indicated fear. "Devourers," she whispered. "The Council spoke of them only in The most classified briefings. They're old, Captain. Older than the Valdari, older than any spacefaring civilization we've encountered. Blake, monitoring the communication channels, looked up with concern. The colony is trying to evacuate, but those ships are jamming all major transit routes. From what I can intercept, they've got maybe 6 hours before the orbital defenses fail completely. What do the Devourers want? Marcus asked. Genetic supremacy, Vera replied, her voice heavy with the weight of ancient knowledge. They believe the galaxy should be populated only by species they deem perfected. They view adaptation and genetic diversity as diseases to be eliminated. Humans represent everything they fear most. The shuttle shuddered as they entered the edge of the battle zone. Through the viewports, they could see smaller Devourer craft swooping down toward the planets, surface like mechanical locusts. Each craft was approximately the size of a human fighter, but moved with an organic fluidity that was unsettling to watch. Captain, Chen said, I'm picking up some kind of broadcast from the lead Devourer ship. It's in multiple languages, including Standard Galactic. Put it through. The voice that filled the cabin was synthesized but carried undertones of organic harmony, as if multiple beings were speaking in perfect unison. Inhabitants of this sector, you harbor a species designated as Adaptive Contaminant Level 7. Surrender these organisms for processing, and your compliance will be rewarded with swift termination. Resistance will result in extended suffering for all life in this system. Marcus felt anger building in his chest. Adaptive contaminant, they're talking about us. Captain, Blake interrupted, I'm detecting something else. The planet's defense grid isn't just failing, it's being systematically infiltrated. The Devourers aren't just attacking, they're studying our technology while they fight. Vera stood suddenly, her skin patterns shifting to rapid golden pulses. That's why they're here now. Word of the experiments on the research station must have reached them. They know humans have been enhanced, and they're trying to prevent the spread of hybrid genetics before it can take hold. A new voice came over the communication system, this one human and desperate. This is Governor Martinez of New Haven Colony. To any ships in the area, we're requesting immediate assistance. Our orbital defenses are failing, and civilian evacuation is proceeding too slowly. We have over 2 million people on this planet. Marcus made a decision that would define him for the rest of his life. Chen, plot a course for the planet's surface. Blake, start analyzing those Devourer ships for weaknesses. And Vera, I need to know everything about these creatures. Captain, Blake protested, we're one small shuttle against 3 massive warships. Even with our enhancements, we can't possibly take on an entire fleet. We're not going to take on the fleet, Marcus replied. We're going to do something the Devourers won't expect. We're going to save people while they're trying to destroy them. As their shuttle dove toward the planet's surface, weaving between energy beams and Devourer fighters, Vera moved closer to Marcus. I want to fight beside you, she said. But there's something you need to know. Valdari physiology responds differently to combat stress than human physiology. If we're going to work together in battle, there may be unexpected consequences. What kind of consequences? Valdari reproductive biology is triggered by shared extreme experiences. Combat, danger, life-threatening situations. If we fight together, if we depend on each other for survival, my body will interpret that as a potential mating bond. Marcus looked at her in surprise. Are you saying you'll try to reproduce with anyone you fight alongside? No. Vera's skin patterns shifted to deeper, more intimate colors, only with those who demonstrate compatibility. And, Captain, based on everything I've observed, you and I are remarkably compatible. The shuttle broke through the planet's atmosphere, and the colony's desperate situation became clear. Devourer ground forces had landed in multiple locations, and their biomechanical warriors were systematically advancing on population centers. But what was most disturbing was their method of attack. They're not just killing people, Chen observed, with horror. They're taking genetic samples from everyone they encounter. It's like they're cataloging human diversity before wiping it out. That's exactly what they're doing, Vera confirmed. They want to ensure that no trace of human adaptability survives to contaminate other species. As they prepared to land, Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. But alongside that weight came a strange sense of optimism. The enhanced abilities of his crew, Vera's advanced knowledge, and the desperate courage of the colonists below created a combination the Devourers had probably never encountered. "Listen up, everyone," he announced over the shuttle's intercom. "We're about to show these ancient creatures something they've never seen before. We're going to show them what happens when human adaptability meets Valdari wisdom, when diversity fights back against uniformity." The shuttle touched down in the colony's central plaza, where Governor Martinez and her staff were coordinating the evacuation of thousands of civilians. As Marcus and his team disembarked, the governor rushed toward them. Thank God someone answered. "Our call," she said breathlessly. "But I have to warn you, these attackers aren't like anything we've seen before. Our weapons barely scratch their armor, and they seem to adapt to our tactics in real time." Marcus smiled grimly. "Governor, adaptation is what we do best." The battle for New Haven Colony raged for 18 hours, and in that time, Marcus witnessed displays of courage and ingenuity that redefined his understanding of both human potential and the growing bond between species. The enhanced humans, from the research station, proved to be exactly what the situation required. Their modified abilities, allowing them to interface with and improve the colony's defense systems in ways that surprised even Vera. Chen had somehow linked her consciousness with the colony's main computer, coordinating defensive maneuvers across multiple sites simultaneously. Blake had reverse-engineered Devourer weapons technology in real time, improving the colonists' equipment as the battle progressed. But it was the unexpected collaboration between Vera and the human defenders that proved most effective. "The Devourers have a weakness," Vera explained to Marcus as they took shelter behind an improvised barricade in the colony's industrial district. Around them, human engineers worked alongside Valdari technology that Vera had modified to be compatible with human neural patterns. They're so focused on genetic purity that they can't adapt to truly unpredictable tactics. Marcus watched as a group of colonists, armed with hastily modified weapons, used street-smart guerrilla tactics to outmaneuver a squad of Devourer biomechanical warriors. The alien soldiers were clearly superior in terms of technology and physical capability, but they couldn't adjust to the humans' seemingly chaotic fighting style. "They fight like they think," he realized, "systematically, logically, predictably." Exactly, and that's where human chaos becomes human advantage. An explosion nearby shook the ground, and Marcus saw one of the Devourer's larger assault craft targeting the evacuation shuttles. Without thinking, he sprinted toward the nearest anti-aircraft battery, Vera matching his pace with fluid Valdari grace. As they ran, Marcus felt something strange happening between them. The danger, the shared purpose, the life-or-death decisions they were making together seemed to create a connection deeper than mere alliance. When Vera grabbed his hand to pull him away from falling debris, he felt that same energy transfer he'd experienced on the research station, but stronger now, more focused. "Captain," Vera called out as they reached the weapons emplacement, "I can enhance the targeting system's accuracy, but I'll need to maintain physical contact with both you and the controls. Are you comfortable with that level of connection?" Marcus didn't hesitate. "Do what you need to do." The moment Vera placed one hand on the targeting console and the other on Marcus's shoulder, everything changed. Suddenly, he could feel the weapon's systems as if they were part of his own body. But more than that, he could sense Vera's awareness, her tactical knowledge, her understanding of Devourer technology flowing into his consciousness. Together, they brought down the assault craft with a precision that should have been impossible for equipment that wasn't designed for such accuracy. "How did we do that?" Marcus asked, still feeling echoes of the connection. "Valdari neural bonding," Vera replied, her skin patterns showing swirls of gold and silver that seemed to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. "But this is different from normal mating bonds. This is something new." The battle began turning in the colony's favor as news of their success spread. Human fighters started requesting Valdari technical support, and Vera worked tirelessly to establish temporary neural links that allowed humans to operate alien technology with unprecedented skill. But it was during the final assault on the Devourer command post that the true nature of human-Valdari cooperation became clear. A group of enhanced humans, led by Chen and Blake, had identified the alien's central processing unit. The plan was to overload it with incompatible data streams, effectively giving the Devourer network artificial intelligence equivalent of mental indigestion. "The problem is getting close enough," Blake explained. "Their defenses are adaptive. They'll counter any direct assault." "Not any assault," Vera said thoughtfully. "They can adapt to logical attacks, predictable strategies. But can they adapt to something that makes no sense by their standards?" Marcus understood immediately. "You want to use human irrationality as a weapon." "Not irrationality," Vera corrected. "Creative unpredictability. Human ability to find solutions that don't exist in any tactical manual." The assault on the command post became a perfect demonstration of human Valdari synergy. While the enhanced humans provided technical expertise and the colonists offered raw courage and determination, Vera coordinated everything through a network of temporary neural bonds that shouldn't have been possible with non-Valdari brains. Yet somehow it worked. The humans' chaotic tactics, enhanced by Valdari technology and guided by Vera's strategic knowledge, overwhelmed the Devourer's adaptive capabilities. As the enemy command post exploded and the remaining Devourer forces retreated to their ships, Marcus found himself standing beside Vera in the aftermath of victory. Around them, humans and at least one Valdari had proven that cooperation between species wasn't just possible, it was powerful. Governor Martinez approached them, her face showing exhaustion but also wonder. "I don't understand how you did it, but you've saved over 2 million lives today. The colony owes you everything." "You don't owe us anything," Marcus replied. "You fought for yourselves with your own courage. We just provided some additional tools." Later, as the rescue ships arrived and the evacuation was completed, Marcus and Vera found themselves alone on the observation deck of one of the evacuation vessels. The experience of the battle, of the bond they'd shared, had changed something fundamental between them. "Marcus," Vera said softly, using his first name for the first time, "what we did today, the connection we shared during the battle, it's triggered something in my physiology, something that I need to tell you about." "What kind of something?" Vera's skin patterns shifted to deep blues and purples, but there were undertones of gold that Marcus was learning to associate with hope. In Valdari culture, when two beings share life-threatening experiences and demonstrate perfect mental compatibility, it creates a biological imperative, a need to ensure that their genetic combination survives for future generations. Marcus realized what she was telling him. "You're saying the battle has made us biologically compatible for reproduction?" "More than that." Vera's eyes met his, large and luminescent in the dim light. "I'm saying that I want to have children with you, Marcus, not because it would save my species or yours, but because after everything we've shared, after seeing your strength and compassion, I can't imagine creating new life with anyone else." Marcus looked out at the stars, thinking about everything that had brought them to this moment. The research station, the rescue, the battle, the impossible connection that had formed between them. "Vera," he said finally, "I don't know what the future holds for either of our species, but I know that what we have together is worth protecting. Then, you'll consider it? Creating a family with me?" Marcus turned to face her fully, seeing not an alien but someone who had risked everything to protect people she barely knew, someone who had fought beside him against impossible odds, someone who had opened his eyes to possibilities he'd never imagined. "I don't need to consider it," he said, taking her hand. "Yes." 3 months after the Battle of New Haven, the joint human-Valdari research station orbiting Kepler Prime had become a symbol of unprecedented cooperation between species. Scientists from both civilizations worked side by side, studying the genetic changes that had occurred in the enhanced humans and monitoring what was perhaps the most closely watched pregnancy in galactic history. Vera's pregnancy was progressing far faster than anyone had anticipated. What should have taken 9 months for a human pregnancy was compressed into roughly 4 months due to Valdari gestational biology. But the rapid development wasn't the only unusual aspect of her condition. Dr. Emily Foster, the lead xenobiologist from Earth, reviewed the latest medical scans with barely concealed amazement. "Vera, these readings are unlike anything we've ever seen. The fetal neural activity is off the charts and there are energy signatures that don't correspond to either human or Valdari baselines. Marcus stood beside Vera in the medical bay, his hand resting protectively on her visibly rounded abdomen. Through their bond, which had grown stronger during the pregnancy, he could feel not just Vera's emotions, but hints of something else, something new and unprecedented. "The child is developing abilities that neither of our species possesses individually," Vera explained. Her skin patterns, showing the deep golds and silvers that Marcus had learned, indicated profound contentment. "I can sense her thoughts sometimes. And they're unlike anything I've experienced?" "Her?" Marcus asked, surprised. Vera smiled, an expression that combined Valdari grace with unmistakably human warmth. "Valdari can sense the gender and basic personality traits of their offspring from early in development. She's definitely female, and she's definitely extraordinary." Dr. Foster pulled up a holographic display showing the developing fetus. "The neural pathways are forming connections that shouldn't be possible. It's as if her brain is developing to interface with both organic and technological systems simultaneously. And these energy readings suggest she may have natural telepathic abilities that exceed typical Valdari levels." Chen, who had become something of an expert in human Valdari technological integration, joined the group. Her own enhancements had continued to evolve, and she now served as a liaison between the two species' scientific teams. "Captain, there's something else you should know," she said. "The changes in the enhanced humans aren't stopping. If anything, they're accelerating. Blake can now interface with Valdari quantum computers directly through touch, and I've started picking up telepathic signals from other enhanced humans across the galaxy." Marcus felt a flutter through his bond with Vera, a sensation he'd learned to recognize as their unborn daughter responding to external stimuli. "She's listening," he said with wonder. "I can feel her reacting to our conversation." "More than listening," Vera added, placing her hand over his on her abdomen. "She's learning. Her neural development is unlike anything in Valdari or human medical records. I believe she may be born with full conscious awareness." The implications were staggering. Dr. Foster began documenting everything rapidly, realizing they were witnessing the birth of something entirely new in galactic evolution. A soft chime indicated an incoming priority message. The holographic display shifted to show Admiral Rodriguez from Earth Fleet Command, her expression serious but intrigued. "Captain Kane, Dr. Foster, I'm contacting you with urgent news. We've just received communications from 17 different star systems reporting similar human-alien hybrid pregnancies. It seems what you've achieved isn't unique." Marcus exchanged glances with Vera. 17 systems? How is that possible?" "That's not the most important development," the Admiral continued. "We've also detected multiple Devourer fleets mobilizing throughout the Outer Rim. Intelligence suggests they view these hybrid pregnancies as an existential threat to their doctrine of genetic purity." Vera's skin patterns shifted to deep reds and purples, indicating alarm. "They're planning a systematic purge, not just of the hybrids, but of any world that harbors them." "There's more," Admiral Rodriguez said. "The Valdari High Council has officially requested an alliance with Earth Fleet. They're willing to share their most advanced technology in exchange for joint defense against the Devourer threat." Marcus realized the galaxy was at a turning point. The birth of hybrid children wasn't just a personal miracle. It was an evolutionary leap that threatened to reshape interstellar politics. "What are our orders, Admiral?" "Protect the pregnancy, Captain. Our xenobiologists believe your child may hold the key to a new form of interspecies cooperation that could transform galactic civilization. We're establishing a defense perimeter around Kepler Prime, but we need you to continue the research." After the communication ended, the medical bay fell quiet, except for the soft hum of monitoring equipment. Vera moved closer to Marcus, her luminescent features reflecting the gravity of their situation. "Marcus, there's something I haven't told you about Valdari reproductive biology. When we carry children conceived in extreme circumstances during times of great danger or change, those children are born with special abilities. But the risks to the mother, what risks? The energy required to develop such an advanced hybrid organism is enormous, Most Valdari mothers don't survive the birth of extraordinary children. Her voice remained steady, but Marcus could feel her fear through their bond. Dr. Foster looked up from her scanners, overhearing the conversation. That's not going to happen here. We're monitoring every aspect of the pregnancy, and we have the combined medical knowledge of two civilizations. It's not about medical knowledge, Vera replied. It's about the nature of what we're creating. This child will be a bridge between species, but bridges require strong foundations on both sides. Marcus felt their daughter move again, stronger. This time, and for a moment, he could have sworn he sensed intelligence in that movement, as if she understood the conversation and was trying to reassure her parents. She's going to be special, he said with conviction. But Vera, you're going to be there to see her grow up. I won't accept any other outcome. Vera's skin patterns shifted to warm golds and silvers as she felt his determination through their bond. Your certainty gives me strength, Marcus. Perhaps that's another human trait our child will inherit, the ability to find hope even in impossible circumstances. Dr. Foster continued her scans, documenting every aspect of the unprecedented pregnancy. Whatever she becomes, she won't be alone. If there really are 17 other hybrid pregnancies occurring simultaneously, she'll have siblings of a sort, a new generation that might see the galaxy very differently than any of us. As if responding to the mention of siblings, their daughter moved again, and this time all three adults felt something remarkable. For just a moment there was a sense of connection, not just between Marcus and Vera, but extending outward, touching minds across vast distances. Did you feel that? Chen asked, having remained silent during the family discussion. For a second it was like I could sense other enhanced humans throughout the sector. The network is growing, Vera said with wonder. Our daughter isn't just developing individual abilities. She's somehow enhancing the connections between all enhanced beings. Marcus looked around the medical bay, at the Valdari and human technology working in perfect harmony, at the evidence of a new form of life developing within the woman he loved, at the representatives of two species learning to truly cooperate for the first time. Maybe that's what the galaxy needs, he said. Not just individual heroes or single species, but a network of connected beings who can work together in ways we've never imagined. The pregnancy was no longer just about his family, or even about human Valdari relations. It was about the birth of something that could reshape how different forms of life interacted throughout the galaxy. And somewhere, in the vast darkness of space, Devourer fleets were mobilizing to stop it from happening. The birth of Maya Kane came with phenomena that redefined several branches of xenobiology and quantum physics. The delivery took place in a specially constructed medical facility that combined the most advanced human and Valdari medical technologies, surrounded by monitoring equipment that recorded energy readings previously thought to be impossible. Dr. Foster had assembled a team of the galaxy's leading experts in interspecies medicine, but nothing in their combined experience had prepared them for what they witnessed. As Vera entered the final stages of labor, the very air around her began to shimmer with energy patterns that resembled living light. Energy levels are spiking beyond our measurement capabilities, reported Dr. Chen, who had been modified to interface directly with the monitoring systems. It's as if the birth is creating some kind of dimensional resonance. Marcus held Vera's hand, feeling the intense energy flowing between them, amplified by the strain of childbirth. Through their bond, he could sense not just Vera's pain and effort, but the presence of their daughter, aware and eager to enter the world. "She's coming," Vera gasped, her skin patterns shifting through rapid cascades of color. "I can feel her, touching the minds of others across the galaxy. The other hybrids, the enhanced humans, even some Valdari. She's already building connections." The moment of birth arrived with a pulse of energy that temporarily overloaded every piece of electronic equipment in the medical facility. Emergency lighting flickered on as the primary systems reset themselves, but in that moment of technological chaos, something extraordinary occurred. Maya Kane was born with her eyes open, already aware, already observing her surroundings with an intelligence that was unmistakably present and engaged. Her skin showed the luminescent patterns of Valdari heritage, but arranged in configurations that had never been seen before. Most remarkably, she seemed to be generating a localized energy field that made the air around her sparkle. "She's beautiful," Marcus whispered, overcome with emotion as Dr. Foster placed his daughter in his arms. Maya looked directly at him with eyes that held depths he couldn't fathom, and for a moment he felt her touch his mind with gentle curiosity. Vera, exhausted but radiant, reached out to stroke their daughter's cheek. "She's already communicating," she said with wonder. "Not in words, but in concepts, emotions, pure understanding." Dr. Foster completed her initial examination with growing amazement. "All vital signs are exceptional, but these energy readings suggest she's somehow interfacing with multiple technological systems simultaneously, even as a newborn." As if to demonstrate the point, the medical facility's main computer system began operating with unprecedented efficiency. The lights stabilized, the environmental controls optimized themselves, and the communication arrays suddenly had clearer reception than they'd achieved since the station's construction. "She's integrating with the station's systems," Chen observed, her enhanced senses allowing her to perceive the electronic interactions. "It's as if she's instinctively improving them just by being here." Within hours of Maya's birth, reports began arriving from across the galaxy. The other 16 hybrid children had been born within moments of each other, despite being scattered across different star systems. Each birth had been accompanied by similar energy phenomena, and each child had demonstrated immediate signs of extraordinary abilities. But it was the network connection that proved most remarkable. As Maya slept in her specially designed crib, sensors detected complex neural activity that suggested she was somehow communicating with her hybrid siblings across vast distances. Admiral Rodriguez contacted the station personally to congratulate Marcus and Vera, but her message carried urgent undertones. "Captain, our long-range scouts report massive Devourer fleet movements. They're not just targeting worlds with hybrid children anymore, they're moving toward Earth, toward the Valdari homeworld, toward every major population center in this sector." Marcus studied the tactical displays while holding his sleeping daughter. Maya stirred in his arms, and for a moment he could swear she was showing him images, visions of possible futures where the galaxy was either consumed by destruction or transformed by unprecedented cooperation. "They're afraid," Vera said, interpreting Maya's subtle responses. "The Devourers aren't just angry about the hybrid births, they're terrified. They see what these children represent and know it threatens their entire worldview." Dr. Foster approached. "With the final medical analysis, Marcus, Vera, I need to share something with you. Maya's genetic structure is unlike anything we've ever seen. She has human adaptability, Valdari mental abilities, but there's something else, something that doesn't match either species." "What do you mean?" "There are genetic markers that suggest influence from a third source, something ancient, something that's been dormant in both human and Valdari DNA for millennia. It's as if the combination of your genetics awakened something that's been waiting." Vera's skin patterns shifted to deep blues and golds as she processed this information. "The predecessors," she whispered. "There are legends in ancient Valdari texts about a race that seeded the galaxy with genetic potential, then vanished. Most scholars dismissed them as mythology." "Maybe they weren't myths," Marcus said, looking down at Maya's peaceful face. "Maybe they were preparing for something, waiting for the right combination of circumstances to activate their legacy." A soft chime announced another priority communication. This time it was Blake speaking from the enhanced human colony on New Sigma. "Captain, you need to see this. All the enhanced humans here just started exhibiting new abilities simultaneously. It happened the moment your daughter was born. It's as if she's somehow catalyzing evolution in anyone with modified genetics." The implications were staggering. Maya wasn't just a hybrid child, she was apparently a trigger for widespread genetic awakening. Around the galaxy, beings were discovering new capabilities, new forms of connection, new ways of understanding the universe. "The Devourers are right to be afraid," Marcus realized. "Not because we're a threat to them personally, but because we represent something they can't control or predict. We represent change itself." Vera took Maya from his arms, cradling their daughter against her chest. Then we must protect her, protect all the hybrid children. They're not just our offspring, they're the future of galactic civilization. As if, sensing the gravity of the conversation, Maya opened her eyes and looked directly at her parents. For a moment, the air around her shimmered more brightly, and both Marcus and Vera felt a sensation of absolute confidence and determination flowing from their infant daughter. "She understands," Vera said with awe. "Somehow she already knows what role she's meant to play." Marcus looked out at the stars through the medical facility's viewing ports, knowing that devourer fleets were approaching with weapons capable of sterilizing entire worlds. But beside him was living proof that evolution, cooperation and hope were more powerful than fear and destruction. "Let them come," he said quietly. "They'll find out what human stubbornness combined with Valdari wisdom and enhanced by something ancient and powerful can accomplish." Maya made a soft sound, and for just a moment Marcus could have sworn he heard an echo of that sound coming from 16 other locations across the galaxy. The next generation was already beginning to coordinate, and the Devourers had no idea what they were really facing. 5 years later, Maya Kane stood on the observation deck of the Harmony Station, watching as ships from dozens of different species approached in peaceful formation. The little girl, now displaying abilities that continued to evolve and amaze, served as informal ambassador between not just humans and Valdari, but increasingly with species throughout the galaxy. Her appearance marked her as clearly hybrid, with luminescent skin patterns that shifted more fluidly than typical Valdari, displays and human features that somehow perfectly complemented her alien characteristics. But it was her presence that was most remarkable. Adults from any species found themselves instinctively trusting her, sensing a wisdom and compassion that transcended her young age. "Mama Vera, Papa Marcus," she said, using the mixed human Valdari, terms of endearment she'd developed. "The network says the council ships are arriving with good news." Marcus and Vera exchanged glances. Maya's reference to the network was her way of describing the psychic connection she shared with her 16 hybrid siblings and the thousands of enhanced beings throughout the galaxy. What had started as a simple mental link had evolved into something resembling a collective consciousness dedicated to peace and cooperation. "What kind of good news?" Vera asked, kneeling to bring herself to eye level with their daughter. Maya's patterns shifted to excited golds and silvers. "The hegemony wants to join the alliance, and there are 3 new species requesting membership. The network helped them understand that cooperation makes everyone stronger." The past 5 years had seen unprecedented changes in galactic politics. The Devourer invasion, which should have resulted in widespread destruction, had instead galvanized dozens of species into an alliance based on mutual defense and shared knowledge. The hybrid children, with Maya often serving as their spokeswoman, had demonstrated repeatedly that diversity and cooperation were not weaknesses to be eliminated, but strengths to be celebrated. Marcus looked out at the approaching vessels, representing civilizations that had been in conflict for millennia, but now worked together with an efficiency that amazed political scholars. How many worlds are part of the alliance now? 237 primary worlds, over 1,000 colonies, and 18 different species with full membership. Maya recited with the precision of someone much older. "The network helps everyone understand each other better." Dr. Foster, now the chief scientific advisor for the Alliance, approached their group. She had been studying the hybrid children and their abilities for years, and still seemed amazed by new discoveries on a regular basis. "Maya, could you help us with something?" she asked. "The Andromedan delegation has been having trouble with the translation protocols for the peace treaty. Their communication methods are based on harmonics, resonance rather than traditional language." Maya smiled, an expression that somehow conveyed both human warmth and Valdari grace. "So, of course, the network has been practicing with them. Their music speech is really pretty once you understand how it works." She closed her eyes, and the air around her began to shimmer. Within moments, a complex harmonic pattern filled the observation deck, beautiful and somehow meaningful, even to those who couldn't understand its specific message. "She's not just translating," Vera observed with pride and wonder. "She's teaching their harmonic patterns to the network, so all the enhanced beings can communicate with the Andromedans directly. Admiral Rodriguez, now serving as the Alliance's military coordinator, joined them on the observation deck. "Captain Kane, I wanted to personally thank you for everything you've accomplished. The latest intelligence reports confirm that the Devourer threat has been completely neutralized. Their fleets have either joined the Alliance or retreated to the far edge of the galaxy." "It wasn't just us," Marcus replied. "It was everyone working together." "That's exactly my point," the Admiral said. "Before the hybrid children, before this network of enhanced minds, we couldn't even imagine the level of cooperation we're seeing now. Species that have been enemies for generations are now sharing technology, resources, even cultural traditions." Maya opened her eyes and looked at the Admiral with the disconcerting directness she'd inherited from both parents. "The Devourers aren't gone, Admiral Rodriguez. They're changing. The network can feel them out there, learning to understand diversity instead of fearing it. Some of them want to come back and try again." "Try again to destroy us?" Admiral Rodriguez asked with concern. "No," Maya said with the patient tone she used when explaining complex concepts to adults. "Try again to fit in, to be part of something instead of trying to control everything." The conversation was interrupted by an announcement over the station's communication system. "All staff and dignitaries to Conference Hall Alpha. The signing ceremony for the Galactic Cooperation Accord is beginning." As they made their way through the station's corridors, Marcus reflected on the journey that had brought them to this moment. What had started as a rescue mission to save captured humans had evolved into something that transformed galactic civilization. The signing ceremony took place in a vast hall designed to accommodate representatives from dozens of different species. Maya and her hybrid siblings, participating via network connection from their various homeworlds, served as witnesses to an agreement that established principles of cooperation, mutual aid, and respect for diversity as the foundation of interstellar relations. "Today," spoke Chancellor Indira Patel of Earth, "we formalize what these remarkable children have already shown us through their existence. That strength comes not from uniformity, but from the harmony of differences working together." High Counselor Theron of the Valdari continued the theme. "The hybrid children have demonstrated that evolution is not about becoming stronger than others, but about becoming better together with others." When it came time for Maya to speak on behalf of all the hybrids, she stood with a composure that belied her 5 years of age. Her words, transmitted through the network to her siblings and then to thousands of enhanced beings throughout the galaxy, carried the weight of collective wisdom. "The network doesn't try to make everyone the same," she said in her clear, musical voice. "It helps everyone be the best version of themselves while still being connected to others. We're not losing our differences. We're sharing our strengths." As the ceremony concluded and the various delegations began to mingle, Marcus found himself standing with Vera on a quiet balcony overlooking the stellar display outside. Their daughter was nearby, playing with children from several different species, all of them laughing and communicating effortlessly despite their different biological origins. "Did we do the right thing?" Marcus asked, voicing a question that had lingered in his mind for years. "Bringing her into existence, starting all this change?" Vera's skin patterns showed deep contentment as she watched Maya help a young Andromedan child understand a human game. "Look at them, Marcus. Look at what she's made possible. We didn't just create a child, we helped birth a new form of civilization, and the future? The network grows stronger every year. More species joining, more enhanced beings developing abilities, more children born who see cooperation as natural as breathing." Vera leaned against him, their bond as strong as ever after all these years. "I think our daughter and her generation will accomplish things we can't even imagine." Maya looked up from her play and waved at her parents, her luminescent patterns sparkling with joy. In that moment, Marcus felt a profound sense of completion. The human capacity for adaptation, the Valdari gift for mental connection, and something ancient and wise that slept in both their genetic lineages had combined to create something genuinely new and hopeful. The galaxy still faced challenges, still contained species in conflict, still harbored pockets of fear and misunderstanding. But the network grew stronger each year, and with it, The possibility of a future where diversity was celebrated, where cooperation was instinctive, and where the universe itself was united by bonds stronger than any force that had tried to divide. As the signing celebration continued around them, Marcus realized that this was how real change happened. Not through conquest or conversion, but through connection. Not by eliminating differences, but by weaving them together into something stronger than any single thread could be alone. The stars above held countless worlds, countless species, countless possibilities, and somewhere among them, the children of multiple civilizations were learning that unity didn't require uniformity, that strength could come from embracing rather than fearing the unknown. Maya's laughter echoed through the station, a sound that somehow carried harmonics, her Valdari, heritage and rhythms of her human blood, but was ultimately something entirely new, something that spoke of a future where the phrase alien would become obsolete, replaced by the simple recognition that all consciousness, regardless of its origin, had value and potential. The galaxy had found its harmony, not in sameness, but in the infinite variations of life working together toward common goals. And at the center of it all were the children, who had been born from courage, raised in hope, and who carried within themselves the promise that the best was yet to come.